Alright, I have this Honda four-wheeler Rancher AT. It's got a Kawasaki 400 in it. It's a 2007. I'll be showing you today how to take the carburetor out and put a new one in. The carburetor will be underneath the seat, so I'll be showing you how to take all the plastic, what you need off to get this carburetor off. There's a lot of things you got to do to just get to them. First thing we're going to do, find out where your seat latch is, take the seat off. I just normally set it in the back, sort of set there. Alright, next thing I'm going to do, these black plastic here, you just pull on top a little bit, lift up, and it comes out. As you see, there's a little tab that holds that, so it makes sure you pick up. Same thing on the other side. There's another one on the other side. Just pull on the top a little bit, pick up, comes off. Same thing. So on each side of these plastics right here, there's a 10 millimeter socket you would need. There would be a bolt there. Go ahead and take that one out. Now on the other side is the same way. 10 millimeter. I'm gonna get them out. All right, we got those out now. All right, so to get this plastic the rest of the way off, there's these plastic pull tabs here. You gotta have a special tool to get them off. And I'm just gonna pry that first piece up, and then the second piece. As you see, it just sets in there. You push this down, it opens these up, holds it in place. So you want to make sure that's all the way out before you try to pull them out, or they won't come out. So I've done that one. Let's go ahead and do this one next. And as you see, they just come out if you do it right. All right, so we got this one right here. If they pull out all the way, that's fine. All you gotta do is line up everything the way it's supposed to be. There you go. Then we got this one to do. Like I said, pull that out, then pull that up, comes right out. Now, we're gonna turn our steering wheel to there. And there's one right here we got to get out. This one's a little more difficult because it's such in a tight area. It's down in some grooves, so you got to play around a little bit. There it goes, it came out. Now I used to use a screwdriver to pry these out. It was just more difficult. So however you need to do it. Now we're going to go to the other side. All right, same thing. We're going to pull this one off here. Put it back in there because I pulled it all the way out on accident. This one. So now we're going to the front on the tank. Go ahead and get this one out. This one up front. Now we're going to turn the steering wheel the opposite way. Handlebars, I should call it. We're going to pry that one out. That should be coming out. Alright, so this should be theoretically just sitting there. We got to take the gas cap off. Set it to the side for now. And this should just come up. Just may have to play around with it a little bit. And it should come out. Now we got a lot more room to work. So we're gonna put that gas cap back on. All right, so now we're on the right-hand side if you're sitting on the mower. In the back, this plastic piece, we got to get it loosened up. So there's a bolt over here, right here. It's a 10 millimeter, so we need to get that off. I'm trying to get the best lighting, the best video. It's kind of hard. We're gonna go ahead and take that bolt out. All right, we got that bolt out. What I'm gonna do, I'm just gonna slip that back into there, that bolt, so I know where that one is at all times. All right, so next thing you're gonna need is a Phillips screwdriver. And I don't know if I'm gonna be able to get the good enough lighting for you, but back, let's see if I get the screwdriver right there. Right back here is a clamp that we gotta get loosened up. So once you find that, get it loosened up. You want to get it loosened up pretty decent. All right, I think I got it pretty well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back where I took that bolt out. And I'm just going to pull on that a little bit. As you see, it slid back. That's what we want. We want to just leave that hanging there. We don't have to take it all the way off. We just need the room for where the air box is at to move around. All right, once you got while you got your screwdriver still on, there's this clamp right here we got to get off. That allows that box to slide out and come out of there. Because right now that's attached to this tube. So we're going to pull on that tube a little bit. Okay, it's out. So we just want to leave that sitting there. All right, so there's two more pull tabs on this air box. So we want to go ahead and get them pried up and pulled out. You gotta play around with them a little bit. And they usually come out. So all right, next step you gotta do too is right down here between the carburetor, because this is your carburetor, in the box, there's another clamp. I don't know if you can see it. It's right here. It's right there. We gotta get that loosened up. Next, okay, it's loosened. Now, the box should be pretty well set in there. Just gotta work. I got wires right here that's for some reason right in the way. So you kind of gotta fight with them. Like I said, it's a bear with them wires. I don't know who ran those, but yeah, miserable. All right, I did forget one thing. Oops, I kicked the camera. Down here, there's that clamp right there. We got to get that off, which I'm going to see if I can hold the camera and do that at the same time. As you can see, I'm going to the side doing it. And you probably got to give that a little twist and that should come off. Now let's see if the box is ready to come out now. All right, so this box should just come out. It's a little tight, so you just got to play around a little bit, and there you go. See? Came all out. A lot of work to get these carburetors out of these four-wheelers, so you better have a lot of patience. All right, so we have a wire over here that we got to get off that hooks to this carburetor. So there's a little wire connector right here, or not connector, wire deal that holds the wires together, all the wires, so they stay out of the way. So I'm going to go ahead and get that off. So this wire is right here that we got to get off. I'm going to take a little screwdriver. Try to pry on that to get that to come out. You want to be careful you don't break it. I had it out earlier. Okay, so I'm doing that all wrong. There is a little tab right here. I'm going to try to show you that you just push up on, and that wire just comes slipping right out. So as you can see where it just pushes up. Let me get the camera a little closer to show you. As you can see, this part right here, you push up. That part right there, you see where I'm moving? You push that up, that wire comes right out. Sorry, we have one more wire that's right here. You gotta take a screwdriver, kind of pry down on there and pull it out. I try to get through best video, but as you can see, pry in there and you push on that and it releases it. So we want to push that to the side. All right, so we want to go ahead and get this hose off. So there's a hose clamp right here. Squeeze it off. That one's kind of maxed out. I don't know why, but I'm going to go ahead and sometimes you get lucky enough you take pliers and just wiggle it off. And the same thing with the bottom one. When you do this, make sure your gas is turned off. And just pull it off. You may have a little bit of gas that'll run out, so you may want to catch it with something. All right, so now we want to go in front of this carburetor. Right there is a clamp. So we'll get that clamp off there. So just loosen that up. That takes a Phillips. That should probably be loose enough. All right, so we got that clamp off. Go ahead and pull the carburetor out. Be slowly and gentle with it because you can't go very far because there's stuff we have to take off first. First thing, we got to get this off. So we got a little more playroom, which is a 14mm wrench. So we want to get that off. All right, that one's out. So we're gonna go ahead and pull that out as much as we can. All right, so come on the right hand side if you're sitting on a four-wheeler. There's this. There's a clamp right here that has to come off because this is your idler screw. So once that's loosened, you just pry it. And that comes out. I forgot all about saying something about that. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and turn this carburetor. This comes the fun part. So you need a Phillips screwdriver. Go ahead and take this plastic piece off. And that comes off of there. Set that aside. And right here's my new carburetor, as you can see. Now, here comes the fun part. So, push on this throttle like that. You can't see, yeah. And then what you do is you take your cable, and this should just come flying out of there. And then, yeah, 10 millimeter wrench to take this off. And I gotta fight it with that rubber grommet being right there. Once you get so loose, you probably turn it by hand like I'm doing now. This should be the last piece that needs to come off before the carburetor comes all the way out of that four-wheeler. And yeah, you see it just comes through that groove. And then this hose goes all the way to the bottom. Just play with it. It comes right out. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and get our new carburetor put on, which this end goes towards your front. This goes down all the way towards the bottom. All that is just like an overflow. Just got to pull it through the wires there. Make sure your throttle, idle screw is down there where it needs to go. It needs to go along over here so it goes back in that clip where I showed you. So, alright, so we're going to go ahead and get our throttle put back in. Throttle cable. We're going to screw that all the way in. It's going to make life a little easier because it's going to make that cable a little longer. Make sure you tighten that up. Alright, so we're going to do that. We're going to pull on the cable, or on the throttle of the carburetor. Kind of got to play around a little bit, make everything work. Just got to get that cable slid through that groove there. Make sure it goes down into there. Got to move it around a little bit. Once it tightens, or falls down in there, there you go. It stays in there like that then. So we're going to go ahead and get that plastic cover put back on. And make sure you have your Phillips screwdriver. You can move some hoses around if you need to make things work a little easier on you. Oh, hang on, I forgot. So don't put that on yet because it's gotta go in that groove in the back. I get in a rush sometimes when I need to slow down. Alright, well there's a groove back here. You gotta get that to set in first. There, that's in there now. There we go. Now we can go ahead and get our screw put back in. You gotta have a lot of patience because everything's so tight in this. Alright, once you got that on, now we're gonna flip it and put our choke in there now. Now your choke, you gotta kind of get it in there, make sure it goes in there straight. Once it's in there, you'll know if it didn't go in there right. It won't let you go in. It won't let it go down. So once it's in there, go ahead and put it in. Pull that one hose out of the way. Usually it makes life a little easier. All right, once you get that started, go ahead and get it tightened down. Remember, it's plastic, so be careful you don't break it. All right, so don't forget to put your little hose back there. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and push this carburetor back into its little deal. You just gotta wiggle a little bit. It should slide right in. Now that clamp I showed you that we loosened up, I'm gonna go ahead and get that tightened back up. Make sure you get that tightened. If not, then you suck air and it don't run right. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and get our hoses put back on. I'm gonna get that vacuum one put back. Then the gas line that's down here. With your hose clamp. You use pliers. If you think you can do it with your fingers, go ahead. And then this wire here, we're gonna go ahead and clip it into there. Make sure you hear a clicking noise like that. And the other wire that's on that carburetor, bring it back up. Put it into here. Make sure you hear a little clicking. Alright, so we want to find your idle screw and get it put back in place. That's, you know, you can adjust your idle. If it's idling too high, you can lower it or higher, you know. So alright, so we're going to get that box put back in. Like I said, you're going to have to play around with it. Might have to fight mine a little bit, because obviously, you know, I got a lot of stuff, or 3 extra wires I got to move around. And whoever put them in, put them pretty short, so I don't have much wiggle room doing it. There we go. I'm going to slide that back, get it past that carburetor. Like I said, you got to play around with it a little bit and get it in there. Alright, so once you get that box down in there, you gotta push this forward, get the carburetor and everything put in there. Once you do, go ahead and get your clamp tightened up. Just like that. And these are going to be in. We're going to get them clips and put in that air breather before we go any further. Or, yeah, air box. Probably got to push it forward a little bit. Push your bottom one down first and then your top one. If you push top one down, it will not go down in that hole. So we're going to do the next one over here. So you're going to pull the box a little forward. Make sure them clips are lined up. On a certain way they'll go in. There it goes. I said you gotta play around with it. You gotta fight it. Alright, so we want to go ahead and get this little rubber hose put back on that box. Alright, I use my fingers to get that clamp in there. So I'm going to go ahead and get this plastic tube put in there, in this rubber box, or in the box too. Yeah, play around with it, get it in there. And once you get it in there, go ahead and tighten it down. Alright, so once you get this box back down to that rubber piece there, you can go ahead and tighten this clamp up here. And then come over here. And then take this bolt, put it in there, and tighten it up. Just like that. Alright, so now we're ready to get our plastic piece put back on. That's right here. You gotta take the gas cap back off again. Don't forget to, you gotta get it over this, your forward and reverse shifter. Now we're going to put the gas cap back on because we don't need nothing falling down in the gas can or gas tank. And that hose goes in that hole there. I'll come over there. So these pretty well, there's little grooves right here and it snaps down in just like that. We're going to go ahead and start putting them in. Down. Always push down on this piece first. Okay. Steering wheel, it's easy to get to. Push down in there. So I'm going to go ahead and do all these. There's 3 here, and then there's the rest of them on our side. Now before you start putting this all on, make sure your red piece is back behind this black piece. If not, it won't work right. So I'm going to take all that back off to redo that. Sorry, once you get them tabs put in there, your bolts down here, and get it started and get it tightened up. Do the same thing on the other side. Then we're going to go ahead, our little plastic pieces. Make sure you get the right ones. So this little tab goes down in this little groove here. Oh, I missed it. Don't forget this tab over here first. That's got to go in. It's got to lock and down and push it in and it locks in. Do the same thing on the other side. Once you're done with that, go ahead and get your seat put back on. Just like that. There you go. You are ready to start riding again. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe.